Hello everyone, my name is Al, and today I'm going to be showing you guys the process of this big Critical Role illustration that I did. I'm brand new to Critical Role. I actually just started watching it this month, so I'm only about 26 episodes in. I was really aching for some good D&D content, and I thought, hey, I should give Critical Role a shot. And I did not know that, one, the episodes are upwards to 3 to 4 hours long, and I didn't know that it was already about, when I got into it, like 55 episodes in. So that's kind of become what I've been watching slash listening to for the past like month and a half. I've been binging through it, and I really enjoy it. All the characters are so great, and the storyline's really interesting, and I love everyone. So the other really good thing about that is it makes me want to do really big group shots, which I really haven't done very much recently. So it's been really fun to just mess around with and learn how to draw brand new characters and a brand new world. So this is actually the first time I'm doing a voiceover for SPEEDPAINT. I've done them for a few doll painting videos, but this is my first time doing it for SPEEDPAINT. I actually prefer voiceovers to just plain music. I think it helps me focus on the speed paint when I'm watching them from other people, and also I tend to find them a little bit more interesting just because you get to hear the artist's take on what they're drawing and what they're doing, and it tends to help me focus a little bit. So I hope you guys like it as well. This piece was a lot of fun to do. It's from episode 17, which is The Harvest Close. It is a harvest festival of some sorts that the characters go to, and it's a really good scene. In fact, it's a good couple of scenes. So I chose to illustrate a few of the best scenes from that episode into one illustration. You have Yasha and Jester getting candied apples, then you have Molly buying this overly expensive tapestry for a god he doesn't even worship, and then you have Not just kicking butt at this arrow fair game and winning all of the prizes, and you have Ford doing pretty much the exact opposite of that. It's a good episode, and it was one of those scenes that made me realize, oh boy, yep, I really do love these characters and want to draw them and do more stuff with them. So now we're at my pretty much favorite part of doing any piece, which is doing character colors. I love doing flat character colors. I love figuring that stuff out, especially with brand new characters that I'm just learning how I like to draw them and how I like their colors. And the fun thing about the Critical Role characters is, yes, they do have a quote-unquote canon design, but as the artist, you can kind of push and pull their design in whatever direction you want. And I have a lot of fun with that. My favorite character right now is probably a tie between Caleb and Not. Everybody's really good, but I have a certain soft spot for those two. Like, I have a personal love for Not's big goblin ears, even though canonically she'd probably be hiding it more and would be wearing the porcelain mask. I just love drawing her little goblin-y face, so I tend to draw her without the mask and a little less disguised and more goblin-y because I think it's cute. I went with a lot of autumnal sort of colors for this piece, since it's described as being late autumn and all the colors for the festival are reds and golds and browns. So I wanted to make sure that that was in the piece and that it read really well as being autumn and being that color scheme, while also still making sure I got everybody's quote-unquote sort of canon colors. The nice thing about the character designs is they all kind of sort of have a base color that they use, or at least you can translate their character designs into all having sort of one specific base color or two specific base colors, or at least that's how I tend to translate the character designs. Like, obviously while I'm coloring Not's colors tend to be that particular green and more grays, while say somebody like Caleb is much more of a brown and very kind of muted reds, while Bo is like the full blue character design. Or I guess Jester is more of the full blue character design because her skin tone's actually blue, but all of Bo's clothing is blue, and then Jester is more of both blue and then like this very, very pale pink, and Molly's mostly purples, and then Ford is usually like green and more browns and more muted colors, and then Yasha is kind of gray and a muted down white, and all their colors kind of tend to work really well together. And there's something I'm kind of new to because I tend to choose more bright colors and more saturated colors with my character designs, which is probably why out of everybody, Knot and Jester are probably my favorite to draw because they definitely have character designs that you can really use saturated colors with. The background colors were a little difficult for me. I always kind of have a tough time picking like background colors when it comes to buildings and stuff. Like, I like picking colors for nature and things like that, but when it comes to like this, I guess it's like a street background, I have a hard time picking colors. I ended up using a lot of inspiration and reference to sort of color pick what I thought I wanted this scene to look like. And I wanted to say sorry for not putting in my sketch process or the line art process. To be honest, the sketching, and oftentimes my sketching takes a long time. You see at the beginning of the video that I went through like 3 versions of trying to get a clean sketch in. Before I go into line art, I tend to need like a really, really solid sketch. I'm not good at like line arting over a sloppy sketch, so I really needed it to be like super duper solid, and that kind of stuff takes a lot of time. And I knew this video would probably already be a little bit on the long side, especially if I put like line art in it as well, which also took forever, so I didn't film it, which is a shame because I thought this line art looked really good, but that's okay. You'll notice I don't put in eyes, or at least the colors of the eyes, until like the very end of the flat color portion, and I think that's just because it tends to look super satisfying at the end if like finally put in like the very cute eyes and make sure everybody looks, you know, their expression starts to come through and they start to look a little bit more alive. You also see me like pulling up Asha's eyes at this because one of her eyes had essentially started to droop somehow. Don't know how. And then I start to do shadows. And to be honest, I switch this shadow layer from like multiply to overlay, back to multiply, back to overlay a few times before I figure out exactly where I want it. I tend to do that with my shadows when I use either overlay or multiply. I actually don't remember which one I ended up using. I ended up using one of them, obviously, but I don't remember. They can work in both situations. I wanted to keep the rendering relatively simple with this. I didn't want to like get overly complicated with textures and whatnot since it was already a pretty big piece with a lot of stuff going on. But I really ended up liking the smaller details. Later on I do sort of like this speckled sort of effect on the candy apples that I think adds some cuteness to it, and I added a little bit of texture to the wall, but you can't really see it at the very end, which is fine, it happens. I don't do texture very well, so I try to, when I do it, I do it very, very subtly. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm still relatively new to speed painting. I've only made one other speed painting and it didn't have any voiceover in it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this and will let me know if there's anything specific you want me to talk about when I do these. I tend to like the ones that talk about the piece and art in general rather than the ones that are sort of like a random story. But I feel like with this piece I talk mostly like about color and just about Critical Role, so I hope that was still a little bit interesting. At this point it's just me putting on little itty bitty details. You'll actually see me go in to do more detail on Molly's coat and then chicken out because I felt like if I did like a fully detailed back of Molly's coat, it would take all the attention away from like Jester and Yasha having the candy apples, so I decided not to do it and just leave it kind of on the more simplistic side. After that, it's just a few little details and some adjustments, and then we're all done with this piece. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys liked me sort of just babbling on, I guess. I'm gonna try to upload a little bit more regularly, so hopefully there'll be some stuff coming up really soon, and you guys will check that out too. But I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys again next time.